Rose. No, not that one. Rose. Not that one either. Rose. The first episode of the Doctor Who revival. This episode managed to bring back a show loved by many people in a spectacular way, introducing this brilliant show to many new people while simultaneously pleasing the older fans. By now we all know how successful it was in 2005, but today, 18 years later, does it still hold up as a way to get into the show? Well, let's find that out. Without wasting any more time, let's jump straight into the breakdown of the episode of Rose. This episode starts out with a teenage shop assistant called Rose running away from mannequins at her place of work, Henrik's. She is then rescued by the 9th Doctor, who causes her workplace to be destroyed. I personally love the mystery set up here from the get-go. I think telling the whole story from the companion's perspective is such a great way to introduce the character, and it keeps the Doctor feeling really mysterious throughout. I also think the Autons are probably the perfect choice of a villain for the first episode. It has some familiarity for the older fans, but it's also kind of a grounded but goofy villain to start off with, and I think that's a very good insight into what the show will entail. The next day, the Doctor visits Rose at her home, and they get attacked by a mannequin arm, which they stole off of a mannequin. On his way out, he gives a very ambiguous speech about who he is. This leads Rose to be more confused and eager to know exactly who this person is. Now for me, I think this whole scene at the Powell estate is great. The first half with the mannequin arm is just pure comedy and is so slapstick. And then it just transitions into this really long, slow walk of the Doctor and Rose towards his TARDIS, giving the first speech of the revival. Obviously, speeches are a staple of Doctor Who, and there are many more that this series has, but this one is a really big standout because it gives you enough insight into who he is, while still leaving you very confused and you just want to know more yourself, and you're going on that journey with Rose Tyler in this episode. It's phenomenal. It's one of the best parts of the episode for me, and I love watching it every single time. Rose then investigates the Doctor on her boyfriend Mickey Smith's computer. She then meets Clive, who has been tracking the Doctor through history. Clive tells Rose that with the Doctor comes danger, so if he is here, something bad is imminent. Whilst Rose is talking to Clive, Mickey Smith is kidnapped by a wheelie bin and replaced by a plastic doppelganger. If you somehow haven't seen this episode, yes, that's real. Now this segment for me is awesome. Whilst Clive is talking to Rose about his research, he tells her that many different people throughout history have went by the name The Doctor. Clive says to Rose that The Doctor is a generational name, which obviously we know isn't true, but it's just a really nice nod to the people that know about regeneration, and for fans watching this who were fans of the classic series, I can imagine this being amazing when this came out in 2005. Not only does this cater to fans, but with people with no knowledge of this show going into this episode, it creates a real sense of intrigue about the character that I don't think any other character in fiction can kind of give. The fake Mickey then takes Rose out to dinner and practically interrogates her about the Doctor. And then the Doctor comes in and beheads the doppelganger, because why not? The Doctor reveals to Rose that he is a time-travelling alien, and that Mickey he just beheaded wasn't Mickey, but it was instead a plastic doppelganger, which is also known as an Auton. He then tells Rose that it was being controlled by a being called the Nestene consciousness. Using the doppelganger's head to find the signal, him and Rose travel to the London Eye, as that is the source of the signal. Now for me, the plastic fake Mickey, whilst being very dated visually, is one of the most hilarious things the show has done. It's goofy and stupid, and honestly, I just love it. The Doctor finally revealing himself to Rose is great, and seeing the TARDIS for the first time was just awesome. Rose's reaction is probably the most basic or expected, but I think that's great for a first-time companion for almost every viewer. The Doctor explains to Rose that he has a vial of anti-plastic that he can use against the Nestene consciousness if necessary. Realizing that the Nestene consciousness is transmitting from below the London Eye, they descend below it and find Mickey trapped there. The Doctor tries to speak with the Nestene consciousness and negotiate with it, but it just keeps blaming the Doctor for the loss of its planet. I just love how this episode reveals everything we need to know about the Doctor. I mean, this segment of the episode just gives you an indication at where his morals lie. He's not a protagonist that will spare every life no matter what. He understands he has to make that hard choice sometimes for the better outcome. It makes him a way more interesting character, for me at least, and I feel like you can relate to him more even though he's a 900-year-old alien, and there's something great about that. I think that's what makes the Doctor one of my all-time favourite characters in fiction, really. The Nestene consciousness activates all Autons at a shopping centre, and many people are shot and killed, including Clive. The Doctor is held down by a pair of Autons, and Rose saves him, but accidentally knocks the anti-plastic vial into the Nestene consciousness. As a result of this, all the Autons collapse. The Doctor then uses the TARDIS to take Mickey and Rose home, and Rose then joins him on his travels. In the final 10 seconds of this episode though, the scene where Rose runs to the TARDIS after he mentions it as time travel is one of the hardest things to watch in the show, period. And it sucks that they have something like this in episode 1 because it honestly put me off to start with. I also do not understand the reasoning for Rose going with him. Seconds earlier, she declined because she had to stay back with Mickey, and now since it's time travel as well as space travel, she said yes. I mean, if it was me, I'd be sold on space travel, to be honest. See, my headcanon is that she really wanted to go back in time to see her father, and we know she does that later in the series, so potentially she had that idea here when he said about time travel. It's still a very weak explanation, but it's one that kind of works, and it makes me dislike it a little less. Now, despite the last 20 seconds, Rose is still a brilliant opener to me. The mystery around the Doctor is there the whole episode and literally increases the more you watch of it. If you know nothing about Doctor Who, this is such a great introduction into the show. Although you don't know everything about the Doctor by the end, and he is still a mystery to you, you know enough that you actually want to see what happens next, and you can kind of be sold on who he is from the get-go. And it does also give you a grasp on his and Rose's relationship for the season to come, which is quite good. Like I said, there's still a few issues here and there, but it's quite funny and a really enjoyable watch, and it's probably one of the most perfect episodes you can start the show with. Unfortunately, that is all I have for you today. Hopefully you've enjoyed hearing my opinions on this story, but I would love to know yours as well, so make sure you comment down below any of your thoughts and I'll be sure to respond. If you have made it this far, I'm probably right in assuming that you like or love Doctor Who, so why not check out my review on the episode Dark Water in this card right here. I'm sure it will entertain you as much as this did, and thank you for watching.